I wanted to try to hold off on this as long as possible because I think it's important, and I am going to preface looking at these. I haven't, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the stats on Dressfar of representation of certain specs at certain ratings, okay? And I want to preface this by saying not all of this is 100% accurate, but it does paint a picture. It does paint a picture, and it does paint, it does show you the trends of the patch, okay? And I think that is fair to say. Now, I also feel like, you know, not everyone has tier. Some people have, you know, like Demon Hunters right now. They're doing quite well, I think. We'll find out. Their tier is really, really strong. So they might even get better than they already are. But let's take a look at this, okay? Whew. Okay, so these are just, this is the data, guys. If the data gets you upset, I don't know what to say. These are just numbers. These are facts. All right. Representation. We're going to look at PvP. We're going to look at, actually what we're going to do is we're going to go to stats. We're on our favorite website, dressfar.com. We're going to look at our stats page, and I think we should go to Solo Shuffle. So we're going to go to Solo Shuffle stats. All right. Now, what would you say? I'm going to help my like Twitch chat. I need your guys' help. What do you think is a high rating right now? 2100? I think for week 1, 2100 is very high. Is that true? Like, most people are not 2100. Like, you have to play a lot to get 2100. Okay? So, I think it's fair to do 2100 plus. I think that's the highest breakpoint we can go. So, we'll take a look at Dragonflight Season 2 specs data on Solo Shuffle 2100 plus in NA and EU. Now, let's scroll down. And we can take a look. So, here we have a graph, and you can see on the left-hand side, there is a lot of Demon Hunters and Death Knights, and Disc Priests and Resto Druids. Now, this makes sense to me. As someone who's played Solo Shuffle, I feel like Havoc Demon Hunters, Unholy Death Knights, Discipline Priests, and Resto Druids are very strong. That's not to say that other specs are not strong. Don't get mad. But these specs are, they're obviously popular, and they're obviously really strong. So for melee DPS in Solo Shuffle above 2100, right now Demon Hunters have a 41.53% representation. And then under that, of course, we have Unholy Death Knights, Warriors, Rat Paladins, Enhancement Shamans, and then the Rogue specs. Now, the Rogue specs surprised me a little bit because I do think Rogues, I think at the high end, I believe that Rogues are as good as Demon Hunters, but they're harder to pull off, I think. So specs like Outlaw are really, really good right now, but they're just not as casual friendly, I guess, as Demon Hunter. Windwalker Monk is also really good. Like, I think Windwalker Monk also bangs really hard, even though, you know, obviously it's not represented really well. Ferals, Survival Hunters, and Fury Warriors are what we're looking at here. For range DPS, we've got Demonology Warlock and Beast Mastery Hunter. Not a big surprise. It's kind of unrelenting damage in Solo Shuffle, so it makes sense to me that those specs are good. You obviously, this is a bit surprising, seeing Devastation being played as much as it is, even over like, or at least as much as Arcane Mage, Destro Warlock, Ellie Shaman, Fire Mage, Marks Hunter, Boomkin, Affliction, Frost Mage, and Augmentation Evoker, which is just completely... Augmentation Evoker being this low, it was the #1 rage spec. And Shadow Priest isn't even on here. We don't even see Shadow Priest. Last season, the top range specs were Augmentation Evoker and Shadow Priest. Now, Shadow Priest they're not even there. And Augmentation is the lowest. Now, it is entirely possible. And then, of course, Frosty Case. We know Frosty Case suck. They're not going to be there. It is entirely possible that a lot of the AUG mains were actually Devastation mains. So that might explain the data a little bit. Like, Devastation got some buffs. People want to try the more DPS spec, so they're focusing on playing Devastation over AUG during this current time. But we can take a look at healers also. We got Disc. It makes sense to me. I think Disc is very good in Solo Shuffle. I don't know if I think it's better than Druid, but I think it is fun. It's really, really fun. And it is good. It is good, and it's really fun. And it's kind of like the new reworked healer spec. So it makes sense to me that a lot of people are playing it. And then you have Resto Druid, which in my opinion is the most fun spec at the moment. Or most fun. No, it's not the most fun spec. It's the best healer spec. Sorry, I take that back. It is the best healer spec at the moment. Then we have Mistweaver Monk. I think a lot of people are probably still playing Fistweaver. We have Holy Paladin, Resto Shaman. I think Resto Shaman's actually really good right now, despite what some Resto Shamans will tell you. I think it's significantly better than it was last patch, and with tier, it's going to be strong. So, Holy Priest being low. I played my Preservation Evoker yesterday, and I got farmed, and I logged off it instantly. It felt like I didn't heal at all. So I don't know what the fuck's going on with Preservation Evoker, but it's Garbanzo. But anyways, that is what's going on in NA. I kind of wonder if EU is any different. So that's where we're going to go. Let's take a look. All right. So Demon... Oh my God. This graph is even more disgusting. This graph is even more disgusting in Europe. Okay. All right. So in Europe, they also seem to really enjoy Demon Hunters. So... yeah, they have a 56% representation over 2100, which is pretty insane considering how many specs are in the game. Then you do have the Unholy Death Knights, Windwalker Monks. Windwalker Monks, for some reason, are way more popular in Europe in Solo Shuffle. They are good, like I said, so makes sense. Arms of Warrior Ret. You have the 3 Rogue specs, which are all looking pretty good. Feral, Enhance, and Survival Hunter. Okay? And yeah, it can be tricky. It's similar to Mage, right? Like, it can be tricky. Right now, it seems like Asa is as well represented as Outlaw and Sub. So is it as good? It might be, but it's tricky when you have 3 specs, because there's no way at the moment. There's no way, for example, someone could actually push 2100 on all 3 specs. You know, if you have like Peekaboo. He's going to have to pick 1 spec to play. You know what I mean? But it's entirely possible he could play all 3 specs. And that would really jump the representation of Rogue at the moment. So the fact that the player base is split between the 3 specs and there's been a limited amount of time, I don't think this really speaks to the true strength of Rogue at the moment. Okay, then we have Destro. Destro, very popular, a lot more popular than Demo. We have Beast Mastery Hunter, Fire Mage, Ellie, Demo, Boomkin. Devastation Evoker, not nearly as popular. Arcane Mage, not as popular. Og, Shadow Priest, Frost, Affliction, and Hunter. And then, of course... oh, so Shadow Priest is actually... it's here. So you can tell it's here. You know what's not here still? Frosty Case. I guess no one likes him. And then in Europe, we got Resto Druids as number 1, and Disc Priest, Mistweaver, all make sense. And then below that, this is like the tier 1 healers for Shuffle, I guess. And this is the tier below. Preservation Evokers are really, really struggling in both regions. So there you go. This is the week 1 analysis. It is now Saturday. So we had Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. This is after 4 days of play. I don't know, like maybe on Monday this all changes. There was no hot fixes for this Friday. So I don't know if any of this is going to change. I don't know if hot fixes are coming. But if not, I guess we'll wait and see what happens. See what happens, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, it's fun for me to look at this stuff. Hopefully you enjoyed that.